Yeah, you can. I'm trying to recall. I'm going to check the old recordings right now to see where we left off. Usually the marker is in my... What ayat is this? Is this an Anbiya?
And when people see أوراق الذين كفروا, when disbelievers see you, they do nothing but take you as a joke. كالذين كفروا.
Yeah. Is it Anbiya?
Protected. وهم عن آياتها معرضون. And it is كنجزيهم جهنم فذلك نجزيه جهنم. We will compensate them with Jahannam. كذلك نجزي الظالمين. This is how we compensate the oppressors. أولم يرى الذين كفروا أن السماوات والأرض كانتا رتقا ففتقناهما.
Where's ففتقناهما? Surah Anbiya ayat 30. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم أما بعد. وجعلنا في الأرض رواسي أن تميد بهم وجعلنا فيها فجاجا سبلا لعلهم يهتدون وجعلنا السماء سقفا محفوظا وهم عن آياتها معرضون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, we made the earth mountains and tamida bihim, so that it can hold it in its place when it orbits, and when it moves, it can hold it in its place. وَجَعَلْنَا فِيهَا فِجَاجًا سُبُلًا لَعَلَّهُمْ يَهْتَدُونَ. Allah made springs, Allah made pathways so that people may be guided. وَجَعَلْنَا السَّمَاءَ سَقَفًا مَحْفُوظًا. Allah said, we made the heavens a protective barrier. As you know, there is an ozone layer, and there is this the sky protects us from all the other debris and all the other things that come in the atmosphere. It doesn't come down to us because it enters the atmosphere, burns, it destroys by the time it comes to earth. And Allah says, وَجَعَلْنَا السَّمَاءَ سَقَفًا مَحْفُوظًا. We made it into a ceiling, saqafan, a ceiling. Mahfuda, it protects you. Just the way the masjid ceiling is or any other ceiling is, it is a protective barrier. وَهُمْ عَنْ آيَاتِهَا مُعْرِضُونَ. And people just don't look. They don't contemplate. They don't realize that everything around them is just a parable. It's an example. وَهُوَ الَّذِي خَلَقَ اللَّيْلَ وَالنَّهَارَ وَالشَّمْسَ وَالْقَمَرَ. He has created the night and the day, the sun and the moon. كُلٌّ فِي فَلَكٍ يَسْبَحُونَ. كُلٌّ, everything, فِي فَلَكٍ, in its orbit. يَسْبَحُونَ, is swimming. Kullun fi falak. Allah says everything is swimming in its orbit. It's on its own path. And everything has its own path. And everything will go and has its trajectory. And that's how the entire life is. Allah has set the planetary orbits in a circular motion. And everyone else, Allah has given them a trajectory. And you will follow that trajectory. You follow that path. And sometimes people's lives are like loops. They come back to wherever they began. And no matter where they go, what they do, they come back. Like I was born in Dallas, and I ended up coming back over here. وَمَا جَعَلْنَا لِبَشْرٍ مِّن قَبْلِكَ الْخُلْدِ أَفَإِن مِتَّ فَهُمُ الْخَالِدُونَ. Allah says, we haven't made for any man before you khuld, living forever. If anyone would have lived forever, it would have been Muhammad Rasulullah. But we haven't. Allah says, كُلُّ نَفْسٍ ذَائِقَةُ الْمَوْتِ. Every soul must taste death. Every single soul. Besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is the only one who doesn't experience death. And towards the end of time, even the angel of death will be told to take his own soul away. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will resurrect everybody. And then he will do hisab kitab, send the people in Jannah to Jannah, Jahannam to Jahannam. And he will bring death in the shape of a ram. Allah will cause death to die. And after that, there won't be any death. The concept of death for us will not exist. Because after us, there will be other creations. As Sahih Muslim narration says, that Jannah will be expanded and another creation will be brought into Jannah. Which is interesting is because it shows that there may be multiple universes, but the Jannah is one. That's the interesting part. Allahu A'lam. وَنَبْلُوكُمْ بِالشَّرِّ وَالْخَيْرِ فِتْنَةً. We may test you with evil and good. Fitna, it is a test. What is a fitna? Fitna is anything that comes between you and your Allah. So now, for example, I'm playing a game, namaz time. I don't go for namaz, the game is a fitna. I'm reading Quran, namaz time is finishing. The Quran is not a fitna for me. Fitna is anything that comes between you and your Allah, and your obligation to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is called a fitna. وَإِلَيْنَا تُرْجَعُونَ. And to us, everyone shall return. وَإِذَا رَآكَ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا إِن يَتَّخِذُونَكَ إِلَّا هُزُوًا. And when the disbelievers only took you as a joke, أَهَذَا الَّذِي يَذْكُرُ آلِهَتَكُمْ وَهُمْ بِذِكْرِ الرَّحْمَنِ هُمْ كَافِرُونَ. That this is the one that talks about your God? He's the one that is always mentioning? Allah says, وَهُمْ بِذِكْرِ الرَّحْمَنِ هُمْ كَافِرُونَ. That they are forgetful of the name of Rahman and Allah. They remember every God and everyone else, but they're oblivious to Allah. خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانِ مِنْ عَجَلٍ. Mankind has been made to be hasty. Ajal, they want things quick. Instant gratification. You get that Amazon shipping 2 days, you just want that product. You see it, you want it. You go to a restaurant, you want it immediately. Impatience. Allah says, خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانِ مِنْ عَجَلٍ. That is part and parcel of most people to be hasty. Very few people have the patience. They can wait and they have that. Most cannot. You see Khatm al-Quran now, night, Sheikh Saad. You see what happens. Fundraiser, this gets late. Ramadan. We start Ramadan or Eid, what happens? خُلِقَ الْإِنسَانِ مِنْ عَجَلٍ. سَأُرِيكُمْ آيَاتِي فَلَا تَسْتَعْجِلُونَ. Allah says, I'll show you the signs, man. فَلَا تَسْتَعْجِلُونَ. Don't always want everything quickly. Don't want every dua answered quickly. Don't want every response quickly. فَلَا تَسْتَعْجِلُونَ. وَيَقُولُونَ مَتَى هَذَا الْوَعْدُ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ. And they said, when is this promise? If you're speaking the truth. لو يعلم الذين كفروا حين لا يكفون عن وجوههم النار ولا عن ظهورهم ولا هم ينصرون. Allah says, if the disbelievers knew the time when Jahannam would not stop from their faces and their backs, and there would be no help for them, and they will be engulfed in it. بل تأتيهم بغتة. It will come all of a sudden. فتبهتهم فلا يستطيعون ردها ولا هم ينظرون. It will scorch them, it will burn them, it will engulf them, and they won't be able to turn it away, and they won't be given respite. وَلَقَدْ اسْتُهْزِئَ بِرُسُلٍ مِّن قَبْلِكَ فَحَاقَ بِالَّذِينَ سَخِرُوا مِنْهُم مَّا كَانُوا بِهِ يَسْتَهْزِئُونَ. And the messengers before were made fun of them. مِّن قَبْلِكَ, before you. فَحَاقَ بِالَّذِينَ سَخِرُوا مِنْهُم مَّا كَانُوا بِهِ يَسْتَهْزِئُونَ. So those who mocked, their jokes will always drag them, and they will be the butt of their jokes at the end. You know, they say that don't belittle or make fun of anyone, because Allah will put you in that position later on. There was a husband and a wife sitting down at a table, and there was the time for they were eating dinner, and a beggar came and knocked on the door. So he looks to his wife and he says, check the door. She opens the door and she says, there's a beggar at the door. He says, tell him, it's our dinner time. Is this some time to come at night time? And he begins yelling at him and getting upset at him, making fun of him. You are just, this is some time? Yeah, well, Anika. Okay. Years went by, they got divorced. She remarried. She was having dinner one more time, and a knock came on the door. Her new husband said, go answer the door. So she answered it. She said, there's a beggar at the door. He said, give him food, look after him, take care of him. She did it. And then the beggar left. And she begins crying. He said, why are you crying? She said, 10 years ago, when I was first married, the same incident happened. And a beggar came with my first husband. He made fun of him, scolded him, kicked him out. And today, the same incident happened, and you were so gracious about it. He said, that man at the door was my first husband. So the guy responds, he said, 10 years ago, that was me at your door. Full circle. When people make fun of other people, Allah gives them the same, if you're fat, you're bald, you're this, Allah puts the same situation with them. قُلْ مَنْ يَكْلَؤُكُمْ بِاللَّيْلِ وَالنَّهَارِ مِنَ الرَّحْمَنِ بَلْ هُمْ عَنْ ذِكْرِ رَبِّهِمْ مُعْرِضُونَ. Say, who will protect you from Allah, defend you from Allah, or bring you night from the day from Rahman. But these people are absent of the reminder of their Allah. أَمْ لَهُمْ آلِهَةٌ تَمْنَعُهُمْ مِنْ دُونِنَا. Do they have gods other than us that can prevent from us? لَا يَسْتَطِيعُونَ نَصْرَ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَا هُمْ مِنَّا يُسْحَبُونَ. They cannot help themselves, and they will not have our company. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that these idols can't even help themselves. You see, these whole systems and everything that we rely on, tomorrow it breaks it down. You saw one electrical outage. Everyone's Wi-Fi is gone. It takes one storm, one grid. A state like Texas, this goes down under. SubhanAllah. Ajib. بل متعنا هؤلاء وآباءهم حتى طال عليهم العمر أفلا يرون أنا نأتي الأرض ننقصها من أطرافها أفهم الغالبون. Allah says, but we have given them time. وآباءهم, and their forefathers, حتى طال عليهم العمر, till their life becomes very long. Don't you see that we snip the earth from its corners? And as you know, the earth gets smaller and smaller because of erosion and the water. And Allah says, نَنْقُصُهَا مِنْ أَطْرَافِهَا. We trim it, nuqsan. We trim it, أَطْرَافِهَا, from its corners. Allah says we trim it. أَفَهُمُ الْغَالِبُونَ. Will they overcome us? قُلْ إِنَّمَا أُنذِرُكُمْ بِالْوَحْيِ وَلَا يَسْمَعُ الصُّمُّ الدُّعَاءَ إِذَا مَا يُنظَرُونَ. Say to them, I'm warning you of revelation, And وَلَا يَسْمَعُ السُّمُّ الدُّعَاء إِذَا مَا يُنظَرُونَ. And they will not be able to hear the call to them when they are warned. وَلَئِن مَسَّتْهُمْ نَفْحَةٌ مِّنْ عَذَابِ رَبِّكَ لَيَقُولُنَّ يَا وَيْلَنَا إِنَّا كُنَّا ظَالِمِينَ. But the moment a blow and a moment of adhab touches them, they will say, Ya Allah, we were zalim. وَنَدَعُ الْمَوَازِينَ الْقِسْطِ. Allah said, we will put the scales with qist, with justice. لِيَوْمِ الْقِيَامَةِ, on the day of judgment. فَلَا تُظْلَمُ نَفْسٌ شَيْئًا. No soul will be oppressed. إِن كَانَ مِثْقَالَ حَبَّةٍ مِّنْ خَرْدَلٍ أَتَيْنَا بِهَا. Even if it is one atom, we will bring it. وَكَفَى بِنَا حَاسِبِينَ. And we are sufficient to do the hisab. We don't need anyone else's accounting. We are sufficient. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا مُوسَى وَهَارُونَ الْفُرْقَانَ وَضِيَاءً وَذِكْرًا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. We gave Musa and Harun a furqan. Furqan means something that distinguishes between right and bad and good. Umar al-Faruq, from faraqa, faraq. Faruq, the one who distinguishes. Furqan, the huge distinguisher. These are just Arabic patterns. Are you familiar with them or no? So Furqan, the Wazn of Rahman. You did Sarf? So you know Ism al-Mubalagha and all of that. Familiar with it? Well, Diya'an. Diya. You say Ziya bhai. Right? It's actually Diya bhai. Ziya ul-Haq is actually Diya ul-Haq. وَذِكْرَى لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. And a reminder for the muttaqeen. الَّذِينَ يَخْشَوْنَ رَبَّهُمْ بِالْغَيْبِ وَهُمْ مِنَ السَّاعَةِ مُشْفِقُونَ. There are those who fear Allah بالغيب, in the unseen. وَهُمْ مِنَ السَّاعَةِ مُشْفِقُونَ. And they're scared of the day of judgment. This is the quality of a believer. That they are fearful of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and of the day of judgment. Both things, of standing before Allah. وَهَذَا ذِكْرٌ مُبَارَكٌ أَنزَلْنَا فَأَنْتُمْ لَهُ مُنْكِرُونَ. And this is a blessed reminder that we have revealed. أَفَأَنْتُمْ لَهُ مُنْكِرُونَ. Will you be denying it? Will you be turning against it? Inshallah. Ruku, inshallah, we'll do tomorrow. Is there any questions on there? That was the only question. Can we ask a question? Yeah. Oh, no. I was just trying to look for my... Okay. If there's any questions, they can ask. You can also come to the masjid. The last 10 nights, everyone is awake. We feel like some people are here. Huh? Yeah? The question is about segregation in events, right? It is my opinion that there should be a barrier and there should be segregation. There are two genders, whether it's a wedding, whether it's education, masjid, all of these things. I do think that it is better for the intention and there's less fitna. However, as at Isra, we don't have any barrier over there. Now, a lot of people ask us this question. What's the purpose behind that? Yeah, so what's the reason behind this? First of all, the area is small. That's the first thing. The second thing is that the Muslims that usually come by us, the general Muslims, or the Muslims we are focusing on, are not people who actually pray and come to the masjid. They are people who are just getting acclimated to Islam. So these are people who have boyfriends, girlfriends, who drink alcohol in Ramadan, do drugs, who eat haram, iftar, suhoor. So many of them don't even fast. Now if I sit there and talk to them about a barrier, the one who doesn't fast and the one who just watched pornography in the morning, like, what am I solving here, right? So you have the Muslim community from a spectrum of level 1 to level 100. The masjid attracts 90 to 100, meaning those who are of higher faiths. Let's say even it attracts 80, 70, let's say even. But from the ones with 0 to 60, they shake hands with non-mahrams. They hug non-mahrams. Their mothers don't do parda. How impactful would it be to them at that time? So, we consciously, in that setting, haven't had it, consciously. Do we hope to create the community in a manner where we can instill it and they'll be okay with it? Yes, inshallah. We do hope for that. But it takes time. And the masjid of Rasulullah didn't have a barrier in it as well. The remedy was what? 2 different entrances. We don't have one entrance, 2 different entrances for the guys and the girls. And if the guys are in the lounge, we don't have the girls there. The girls, most of the time. Now, obviously, every time you cannot control it, right? But like Qiyam night, very explicitly I had said that no guys are allowed to be in the girls' lounge. And while the guys are in the prayer area, some girls had sat down, had asked them to step away. Some got a little offended. But again, what are we accomplishing? If I'm just accomplishing a barrier for 30 minutes, and the moment they leave the masjid, they're all going to boba together, then I'd rather have him bring his girlfriend, sit together, and put the seed inside them so that they either make it halal or they separate. Because this momentary it's a bandage for a wound that requires surgery. It's not for them. You see, this is why I'm here. This is for them. This is for them. Isra isn't for them. Now if they end up coming out of muhabbat, love, control your gaze. The one who is from 90 and up has the ability to control their gaze. The one who doesn't have the ability to control their gaze is not coming there generally to see them, because they're already doing this. Of course, 100%. 100%. Well, the good thing is that most of the girls wear masks, so it's like niqab. That's the good thing. Most of the girls do, and that's one of the barakas of niqab, of mask, that we can have that. But I mean, this is just during COVID. But the reality is that the more appropriate measure is to have the barrier, right? But how much is it solved in that setting? In my opinion, in my experience, it'll take time. Is that a more contentious issue that's happening in the city these days? Is that the word? Is that a contentious issue in the city right now? Okay. I think maybe we can have a small little barrier. That's a good idea. Good idea. We're just 3 weeks old, so it's a good idea. That's also another thing I forgot actually. You know, when I was running a Sunday school or Saturday school in Houston, I had a similar situation where I did not want any of the boys to be taught by a girl. So one of my students at that time asked me, she said, Mufti Wasim, how are we supposed to teach them the proper etiquette of dealing and interacting with the opposite gender when their entire life is surrounded around it? And that's when I changed my perspective on it. And that's another thing. Because when guys and girls, they do go out of line or say something, I mean, that's what I'm there for. Other boys are there for, other girls are there for, to rectify that. But they're also at the age of marriage too, right? These are not high school kids, these are college kids. So that also element of them finding them, and then if you find someone who is coming to learn about Allah in that setting, chances are is that, you know, both of you will do things the right way. Now, are there going to be a few people who are going to do it wrong? Of course. You have that at the masjid too, you have that anywhere. That's a very good point. Shadi, a very good point. That they are around non-Muslims all the time. You know, we have to, again, in the masjid has its sanctity. I'm very against it in the masjid. And I don't think, you know, we should be doing, but it's the necessity. Had it not been the necessity. And like you asked me, what about the 90% and up? It's not for them. If they end up coming, we're not going to kick them out and be like, your iman is too high to leave. But the idea is that it's for the people who are starting off their journey. Well, I think it should be separation. Yes, your control, right? It's a one-time event. It's a dawat. Now, if there's going to be a fight between your fiancé and it's a family issue and all that, in that scenario, do istighfar and don't make a big issue. Maulana Shafi'i Thanwi rahmatullahi wrote a book called Islah al-Rusum, correcting all the cultural innovations that happen during weddings and, you know, celebrations. He wrote a whole book on it, but his family ended up doing all of them. And it was just a stark reminder that some of these occasions are very difficult to navigate through. So, inshallah, jazakallah khair. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun. Wa salamun ala al mursalin. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.